Thank you so very much, Reverend Catherine, for filling us in, because it's so very good and necessary for us to know what's going on. And so here we are in the sanctuary, and it's still looking very much like Thanksgiving. And that is because it is still Thanksgiving, and we just love the energy of it all here. And everybody wanted to hang on to these beautiful decorations for another week, thanks to India McKinney and her sidekick for all of this, her Reverend Mama, as she calls her, Reverend Catherine. And we're just basking in all of the glow of it, the thanksgiving of it, the energy of it. And we've been using these decorations for years now, so they themselves are filled with the energy of gratitude and thanksgiving, and with the energy of you. Because even though we're virtually connected, our energies are merging, and you're very much a presence in the place. And over the years, they've picked up a lot of prayerful energy and spiritual energy from us all. So they're shining right back at you as a blessing. And that's a beautiful way for us to go into opening ourselves up, to centering ourselves in the awareness of that which is greater than we are. And that's the most wondrous thing that you and I could possibly do, is to connect with that higher energy of ourselves, that inner energy of ourselves, the depth of energy of ourselves as we were in the beginning, as we are always and always will be, in the intelligence and the infinite presence of the one who created us all. And so the only thing for you and for me to do while we're evolving is to connect. Stay connected to the presence. Stay connected to the presence. And people smile all the time. They say, for heaven's sake, my life is a mess, and this and that and the other. I can hardly stay connected to what's going on around me and the people in my life and the things going on. How can I connect? And still I say, because it has been said to me when I've said the very same things, it's the way to get through all of the morass and all of the nonsense around us and within us at times. It's the only way to release ourselves from the bondage of all of that misunderstanding of what we're about, which is doing and doing and doing and doing and doing and accomplish, getting more. Becoming something, something important, something of consequence. Knowing all the time within our reclining sovereign presence, soulfulness, that we cannot become anything more than we already are. There's nothing more to become. We are it. We are the wholeness, we are the fullness, we are the completeness of life itself as a beautiful orb of power encapsulating all of that energy and presence that is like a holograph, that is interconnected with all the other beautiful orbs that can't be anything more than they are in that awareness of wholeness and completeness. It's the only thing we're here to unfold and rediscover about ourselves. Imagine that, in spite of all of our getting and spending, laying waste our powers, little we see in nature that is ours, we have given our hearts away a sordid boon, the poet said a long time ago. And we're still doing it, to the detriment of being it. And in glorious moments like this, it's so crystal clear. But for myself, I can say, as soon as I walk out of here and through the door and everything descends on me that has to be done in the day, and the dad, and the do, and the do, and the da, and the go, and the go, and the go, and the hush, and the rush, and the hurry, and the flurry, and all of that, I will be very challenged to hang on to what I'm sharing with you right now. And it's okay. Challenge is a challenge. That's all it is. So that's why we center ourselves in the awareness of the moreness of life, the wholeness of life, the fullness of life, the okayness of life in our vernacular. Why wouldn't we do that more? That's the one thing I miss about monastic life, is on the hour, every hour, a bell rang and you remembered. Now I remember that I'm in the presence of God on the hour. It's a good practice. And we have all kinds of gadgets nowadays to remind us of everything. My gosh, no wonder the memory gets sluggish, because it doesn't have to work at anything, because a bell rings, a whistle rings, a ping pong goes, a this and a that and the other, and there's so many reminders. Again, we don't even have to know how to spell. We don't even have to know how to write. We can just talk everything into machines and so on and so forth. Is that what progress means, I'm asking? Because the wonderful and amazing ones who always knew, since time began, they've always been amongst us, knew that nothing of reality that you and I wish to realize has to do with anything out there. Has to do with anything that has to do with stuff and things out there. But it's everything to do with the stuff and the one thing that is within us. And so now I think we're ready to take a conscious breath and appreciate all that we are and everything and everyone is. The glory of God fully alive. That's what Irenaeus in the 4th century said. The glory of God fully alive is what a human being is. Well, let's put it to the test, shall we? And in our practice, we always begin that coming down, bringing the energy all around us and all about us and flying through us. Bringing it down through the breath, through breathing consciously into the heart chamber, that orb of majestic power and light and life and love. We bring it down into that heart center, wherein there's nothing to do except enjoy and be in that power, in that light, in that presence, in that life, in that love. Because that's how everything gets taken care of on the outside of life, amongst all of the stuff, things, and going-ons. So let's do that now. I always find it's a great help to just take myself out of the exterior world by just gladly closing my eyes, my physical eyes, so that I can see through the mind's of the heart's eye, so I can be more focused in that conscious awareness of presence and beauty and grace that is all the time pulsating and oscillating within me, through me, around me, and about me. And once I do that in the stillness, there's nothing for me to know. There's nothing for me to do. There's simply to be it all, one with it all, one with it all. So let us enjoy this moment of refreshment, of peace, of calm, of quiet mind, of still body and joyous heart. And just breathe down into that energy center of love and all that love contains, and breathe it up again and send it out as a blessing that's filled with love and light and life and beauty and grace and goodness and kindness and compassion and understanding. A power that simply is not my own, but the power of the one within me, the one that lives and moves and has its being by means of me and flows through me. That power, that presence, that light, that love, coming from this individualized heart of itself, touching and meeting all of the other individualized hearts in expression, pulsating with that energy, that vitality, that dynamism of love, and touching all corners of creation, moving through all of creation as a blessing, healing, affirming, uplifting, integrating, peaceful balm. Calmness, stillness, quietness, listening to the thrill of the throb of the power of being itself in every aspect of my being, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, within and without the life that I am, the one life, the one light, the one power, the one peace, the one beauty, the one joy, the one union, all living, moving, having its being through and by means of this entity and all entities on this plane. The joy is in recognition, identification, and acceptance of this truth. The truth that sets free all that does not belong where the great presence is. And that is where I am. And so I breathe quietly the song of life, and it moves through me and out from me as a blessing. I simply breathe it, am one with it, in love as it. So in this awareness, blessings go forth on all of life and all of creation. And the mind and the heart knows only peace, wholeness, healing, integration, recognition of belonging, identification with truth, and declaration of the presence of the one in everything and in everyone. Blessed be all of life. And may all of life know itself as awakening, continuously awakening, infinite intelligence, whether it's in a stone, a flower, a tree, a river, a mountain, the sea, the sky, you and me, always and forever, truly immersed and embraced in and by the one. So gladly I say, and gratefully I say, knowingly I say, that what I'm knowing now and allowing now, saying yes to now and feeling now is the truth that I send forth out into the cosmos and beyond, knowing it is already loudly acclaimed, affirmed, responded to, as I in faith and gratitude and joy say, and so it is. So it is. I don't know about you, but I feel really good, very good. Energized, revitalized, and ready for a great, good, and glorious day. How about you? Well, what I'm knowing for myself, I am knowing for the few of us in this room and for everybody tuned in and for all life, wherever it is, however it is. That's what I'm knowing. So, my dear ones, I want to truly now take this moment to thank you so very, very, very much for helping others to have a much more unexpected and good Thanksgiving than they had been imagining. Thanks to your generosity, thanks to your beautiful spirit of giving, thank you to the angels that came in with that food and all the other goodies that could be distributed and shared and bring tears of joy to many. So thank you for that. But keep the pantry filled, my dear ones. Please do that. Because as soon as it comes in, we have people to send it out to. Thank you. And for all your love and all your care in so many ways that is you, and in all the ways that you do make a difference in life and living, not just in our community, and not just for the support of our community, but for all the support that's happening out there in the world by means of you. Thank you for that. It's difficult to convey the feeling behind those little words, thank you, but it's a very, very big, 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 big feeling, loaded with all kinds of really good energy. So thank you. This morning, as I was, pondering the way I do in the mornings, the book that came to mind was Ram Dass's book, Letting Go of the Person You Used to Be. Lessons on Change, Loss, and Spiritual Transformation. Sounds heavy, not really. But it's the stuff that we are made of, and it's the stuff that really, that helps us understand who and what we are and how to live our lives much more magnificently than ever we might imagine. But the page that opened up to me here is the page that gets to be a bit cumbersome. With all of the bits and pieces I have in my book, they fall out. It's a piece on just what it is to let go, because it's become bandied around that word. You know, it was one of those spiritual words that gets latched onto, or spiritualized words, phrases that gets latched onto and becomes the in thing amongst the spiritual community. You know, you just have to let go, and all of that. And sometimes, we become too familiar with things and forget the underlying meaning of all of that, what it is to let go. And I mean, letting go doesn't mean just throwing things out that need to be thrown out, or recycling things that need to be recycled and all of that. That's very, very good, very good. But this kind of letting go is not what we're talking about. And so he says here, letting go has become a buzzword amongst all those spiritually inclined folk. But what exactly does it mean? And how do we do it? How do we stop clinging? And it's all about clinging of all kinds, because we do cling. We are Klingons, whether you like it or not. We are Klingons. All of us have far more stuff and things that we ever could possibly use or need in our communities, not worldwide by any manner or means. So we tend to cling. You see it in little children at a very early age. You see it in other species too. That little puppy that's not going to let go of whatever it is that's in its mouth, whether it's good or bad for it, it's not going to, whether it's a lump of coal or whether it's a chew stick, whatever. You're not going to get that away in safety with some of those little puppies. And we're inclined to be like that about certain things that are really not worth at all the effort of clinging to, but yet that's how it seems to be. How do we stop clinging? How do we let go of our compulsions and our fixations? That's a whole different matter. It's easier to let go of some of the stuff and things than our fixations and our compulsions. And what is the difference between letting go and merely throwing things away? The secret is this. Don't you love it when you hear, here's the secret, 5 keys to, 3 steps to, and all the rest of it. And you think you're going to learn something very new that you didn't know before. Letting go means letting things come and go by just letting life be. Simple. No 3 steps. No 10 steps. Letting go means letting things be. Letting go means letting things be. How wonderful is that? It doesn't mean you have to mend and fix and heal and sort and, put together and take apart and all of that. That's not what we're talking about. Go with the flow of things the way they are. Because, as the poet said, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. And what it's saying to us is this: nothing more. Letting things be has to do with non-resistance. Resist not. And you and I are full of resistance. Now, you may not think it, you may not know it. Ask any of your friends who know you very closely, and they'll hold that mirror up to you and let you know. We resist too much. Not only that which is not good for us, but also that which is good for us especially. Learning to be in the moment, learning to look upon life not as a judge and a jury, but to look upon life as a witness, as an observer, detached like a witness, detached like an observer, not so crucially and terribly attached like a judge and a court. There's a big difference. And it takes a while for that to sink in. It really does. He says, rather than thinking of liberation at some future time, remember it is to be found through the practice of letting go of little things, one thing at a time, in the here and in the now. Don't start to try and think you're going to let go of everything and all. All of us know that. We've some way or another we've tried to let go of everything at one time. It doesn't work. That sets us up for failure. If you just hone in on one little thing, like the drip, drip, drip of that beautiful, crystal clear droplet of water that falls into a bucket of murky water. Over time, that very brown, murky water becomes as clear as a mirror, and in the bottom, you'll see all the sediment that has dropped to the bottom. If it had a hole in it, it would have dropped right out. But the water itself is perfectly clear. Drop by drop by drop. Persistent drop by drop by drop. It's the same when you're out in nature and you come across rock formations and there are little waterfalls, not all that heavy necessarily, waterfalls. You can see how the water over time has worn through granite rock. Something so soft as water could cut through granite. So the secret to success seems to be little by little by little by little. Focus, focus, focus. This thing, I know there's a million things screaming at you out there, but the focus on the one thing, the focus on the one thing, the focus on the one thing gets us to the winning post. That's what it is to be in time, here and now, and to go with the flow of life, not resist it. Letting go means learning to lighten up as well as enlighten up. Oh my goodness, everybody is so keen to be enlightened. And again, I keep discovering in my own study that the enlightened ones never talk about themselves as enlightened. They don't even know they're enlightened. Why? Because there isn't an ego there. If you're still hanging on to an ego, you're not enlightened. It's a really tough check, and it's true that ego soon smashes you up the side of the head and says, oh yeah, you're enlightened. Sure. We're funny. You have to think that we're funny. We do this by loosening our tight grip on things and relaxing our tendency to try to control everything in our environment. Well, yes, we're all very great controllers. Again, you can see that in us as little children, and you can see it in some more than others, where one will try and control everybody else, get everybody else together in order. That'll be the one who'll lead the team and choose the team and all so on and so forth, and the rest just fall in line. And yet, even the ones who fall in line are controlling in their own way, in their own lives. But some of us are outstanding in the way we like to control. Doesn't work very well for us either. If we are unable to do this, we run the risk of being pulled along or dragged willy-nilly without conscious awareness. It's random living. Willy-nilly random living, not good. Doesn't do much for us or anybody around us either. It's not conscious living. We end up where we would not choose to be when this happens. And we're never happy with ourselves or satisfied with ourselves. Nothing satisfies us, the ones who always are resisting and controlling and so on. Nothing satisfies. Nothing is ever right. We sometimes call these people perfectionists. Well, they say the only person that can live with a perfectionist is a martyr. It's funny myself. So anyway, he goes on to say the first step in letting go is self-awareness. Self-awareness, not self-absorption in a selfish way, but self-awareness. To be with yourself, to accompany yourself, to know what you're thinking, saying, and doing throughout your day. So you can monitor yourself and recheck and recalibrate whatever else needs to be recalibrated in the way we're thinking and feeling and doing and so on. Self-awareness is extremely important. The examined life is far superior to the unexamined life. We've been told since time immemorial. So in other words, checks and balances and be aware of yourself in all that you're thinking and saying and doing to the capacity that you can. And that doesn't mean we won't fall into forgetfulness throughout our day. We will. That's common to the egoic experience of life and living as a human being. It's when you wake up and catch yourself on, then you put the brakes on, you step back, you take a look, you shake yourself off, and you get up and you start all over again. See? We're not saying you can do this forever and a day. It'd be like saying, don't breathe all day. You and I are going to fall into forgetfulness. We live very busy lives, whether it's true busyness or not. We live busy lives. We're busy in our head all the time and so on. But it's the gap in between. It's all about the gap. It's the gap in between when you catch yourself on, then pull yourself back and take a good look, rearrange the whole scene, and then off you go again. And it could be bazillions of times in one day. You and I might have to do that, but we just have to do it. And it doesn't mean that that day was any, less than the day before when I seemed to be able to go through it all very nicely. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means, did you do your best today? And when you did catch yourself on, did you make the effort to, reappraise and so forth? And if you can say yes at the end of the day, it's a great, good day, even though it might have been, all kinds of hodgepodge things that wanted to get on your last nerve, but you didn't allow it to. It's a great, good day. And it's you in relationship with yourself, not with anybody else. It's you, if you want to put the word competition in there, which is a word I don't like, but it's you being in competition with yourself, and it's the only person you get to be in competition with, no one else. Unless you want to really miter yourself and upset yourself and disappoint yourself and so on. If you want that, that's fine. Go ahead and compete with everything and everyone out there. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what kind of a day it was and how challenged it was or not. If you can say, today I did the best I could to remain as present as I could and as awake as I could, it's a great, good day. It's a great, good day. Nobody's asked to be more or do more than your best. And you see, all of those bests are accumulating and adding up in your spiritual portfolio, and that's what speaks for you in the beginning, the middle, and the end. It's not just one great big blast of something. It's everything. You know yourself. It used to be said when I was a child, take care of the pennies and the pounds will take care of themselves. We had pounds, shillings, and pence. That was our system at the time. A long time ago, yes, you can see, at least 200 years ago in Ireland. And so, my dear ones, yourself is your greatest of all strengths and gifts. Yourself. Emerson said, I rely upon myself, the self of the self within me, the great self, not the egoic self, but the great self. And he insisted on that. And he says, insist upon yourself, with capitals. He had no time for imitation at all. He said, imitation is destruction. To try and imitate somebody else is to self-destruct. Yourself is your power base. Yourself is your everything. Yourself is the center core of your being around which your life revolves. But you and I are called to be masters of the self, because we can. We can. Why wouldn't we be masterful when we can? Oh, we're very keen to get a black belt in this and a trophy in that and a prize in the other and so on. But these all mean nothing. You've got to leave all that stuff and all those things behind when you let go of the body. But you get to keep the mastery of yourself, and you get to take that with you. Again, your spiritual dividends are the only ones that go with you. And I would hazard a guess and say that most of us on this planet don't give as much attention to those spiritual dividends as we do to exterior, outer ones. You're amazing. The thing is, you just have to wake up to understanding how amazing and unique and masterful and sovereign you are really in truth. And again, it's this business of playing so small that cripples us. We're afraid to be the greatness that we are because we don't trust it, we don't believe it, we just think, no, not for me, but maybe somebody else. I can think of one person I know would fit that bill, but no, I have a long way to go. Rubbish, basura. You're there now. You're there now. Ram Dass was always also saying from time to time, you know, the journey of life is a journey you're taking yourself. It's the only journey that you're on, and you're the only one that can take it. Others may accompany you. He calls them spiritual pods, and I like that. And he says, when we leave this world, we'll have a spiritual pod on the other side awaiting us, helping us through and helping us to readjust and so on. But he said the only way that really can be thrilling is to create your spiritual pod now, not be afraid of letting go of that last thing, the body, not being afraid of it. And he says the only way not to be afraid of letting go of the body when that time comes is to let go of it now. Get detached from it now. Understand now that instead of thinking of this awful thing called death as I see it, look at it like the way as a child I would look over to the United States of America and think, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be great to go to Disneyland? Look at it as a great adventure I get to go to. A beautiful, wide open, fun, wonderful thing, joyous thing. That's what it would be like. Going to sleep, you know, it would be like me in Ireland as a child going to sleep in Ireland and waking up in the Disney hotel the next day and going, oh my gosh, oh golly gee, this just is too much. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing that that's how great and grand and glorious you all are? But don't get too ahead of ourselves, because although as great as this is, I'm going to go and read what we mostly can identify with. One last little piece of reading here from the same book. A couple of weeks ago, he says, I was on a supermarket express line. The customer in front of me, this is a common experience, the customer in front of me became convinced that another shopper was trying to get into line with too many items. Oh, that customer with too many items in the quick lane. Oh. She became enraged, her reaction blown far out of proportion, and yet she couldn't let go. That's what I hate about those people, she exclaimed ferociously to anyone who cared to listen. Doesn't anybody care about rules and regulations anymore? Can't anybody count? Everybody is so damned inconsiderate. Is that familiar to you, my dears? You may not have screamed it out in the supermarket, but I'm sure that most of us have thought some of that at one time or another. Maybe she had just had a bad day, but at that moment she was so angry that the sight of a supermarket customer in the express lane with one extra can of tuna fish put her over the top. She couldn't let go. How does that benefit anybody? And that's the perfect example of one of us who may have had a great good day or morning or whatever, and yet we know we have an appointment or something. We had a wonderful spiritual practice, and so we go to the supermarket, and there's this one person. That and the other thing in the supermarket is when you're in a long line, somebody comes up with a coupon. There's something about the coupon. The cashier has to leave the desk and go off and search to make it all right and so on and so forth. What are you doing in the meantime? See, it boils down to that. Your spirituality, my spirituality, your spiritual health and my spiritual health boils down to all of our responses in these kinds of situations. The resistance that flows up through us, the annoyance and so on. Now, I know that we're not just angry about that one thing. It's probably many, many things, but that's the last straw. And that lady, instead of, fisty cuffing her like that, who knows what's in her day, or how upset she was when she came into the supermarket, or how she's suffering, or is she in pain, or whatever. We just don't know. These are the perfect spiritual lessons and opportunities crossing our path to test ourselves by. To test ourselves by. Am I an observer? Am I a witness? Or am I a complainer, a condemner, a judge, and a jury? Because if I'm the observer, if I am the witness, I'm not resisting, and I'm letting life flow, and I'm letting life be. But if my reaction is the egoic type, I lose it. Okay, so I lose it. Then I have to pull my wits back together, get my wits about me, and say, all right, I blew that one royally. Good lesson. Good lesson. I'll be more aware next time. I'll be more aware next time. And isn't that what life is all about? Being a little bit more aware every single day of our lives. Getting more connected, getting more in touch with the bigness of it all, and not over-identifying with the smallness of it all. We who are so immense, getting caught up in such littleness, makes no spiritual sense at all. So let's be all that we can be in this good day. Stop looking to the left, stop looking to the right. Keep our eyes focused on the here and the now, straight ahead. Not worried about what they have not, but just knowing this day is mine. It's a gracious and beautiful gift I've been given. It's the greatest gift I could be giving life itself for another day on this plane. What am I going to do with it? How am I going to spend it? What will my mind be like? What will my feeling be like? What will my energy be like? What will my words be like? What will I be listening to in this day? Because that's where it all happens. That's where the buzz is. That's where the energy is. That's where the key to the releasing of all of that good is. Here, now, in this moment. And if I can be at home with myself and pleased enough with myself, I'll never be displeased with anybody else. Why? Because I am who I am, and I meet myself all the time in everything and everyone. That's amazing when you think about it. It's like magic. Get myself in order, the whole world is in order for me. It's the way it works. And it's for you and for me too, because we've been given everything we need or could ever want in order to self-realize in that way. So let's stop distracting ourselves with nonsense and upsetting ourselves with ridiculousness, and just simply be. Here I am, life. Here I am, world. Another day. I'm in it. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be whatever it is that life is inviting me be today, and most especially, may I be of service in this day in some way that uplifts. That's who you are. When you tuned in this morning and you were thinking about your pains and aches or whatever was going wrong in your life and you were identifying with them, now you can throw that all out the window and say, I'm none of all of that. I am the living life of the individualized expression of the one life, the whole life, the perfect life, the God life, which is my life now. Yes. Wreck that I may seem to be, yes, within the wreck is this beautiful shining orb, the splendor, that hidden splendor that I'm not looking at or for, but I'm distracted by everything that contains it, encloses it. So, Have a good day, everybody. Have a really good day. Bless yourself and bless everything and everyone in it, even if it is through gritted teeth at times, because through gritted teeth at times is the way we begin to bless sometimes. And that's the beginning. Doesn't matter. Even if you're begrudgingly blessing, and that sounds strange, start that way. And keep doing it until the energy is diffused and you really are. I remember once upon a time, many years ago, many moons ago, I did a loving relationship workshop in Hollywood with Sandra Ray. In that workshop was John Gray and Barbara DeAngelis too. We're all doing it together. And it became very, very clear indeed that really and truly, the quickest way home is the road that leads to yourself, back to yourself. Could go on and on and on, as you know, but time, she go fly, and it is time now to pause mindfully and consciously, to feel grateful, to feel richly blessed, and to know that we have enough, and enough is plenty, so much so that we can share from the plenty. And that's what we celebrate every time we give of ourselves in any way. So let's take our gift between our hands, our blessing hands, and say, consciously, divine love, life, consecrates this gift. It goes forth to heal and to bless and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of this good, and I release my gift with love. So it is, and so you are. So, my dear ones, have a terrific and blessed good day, and know you're the blessing in it for everybody around you as well as for yourself. And keep your chin up and keep knowing that it doesn't matter what's going on the outside, you can decide on the inside what kind of a day you're going to have and how life truly is. Either the blessing or the curse. Choose this day, the blessing and not the curse. That's what we're asked to do. You're all great blessings in my book and in our book here. We're very grateful to you all, and thank you for every good thought, every good deed, every good feeling, and all the goodness you express in the world. It's making the difference, and you've no idea what a big difference you're making. Thank you so very much. Please do stay connected. Please connect however you can, and if you have any difficulty with Zooming or anything else, call the office. We're willing to help you, and you'll be amazed at how easily it is for you to become masterful in Zooming. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So I love you and leave you now the way the children always say goodbye in my hometown in Ireland. Little Ryan and Isla always say goodbye with gestures. And so it is, and so you are. Have a great one. Your best yet.